Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 14, Chapter 19. Color on Canvas. There is only one God, and He is omnipresent. True, but to concentrate on the omnipresent, some fixed point or preliminary form is needed. And to conceive of the divine as present everywhere at all times, the mind of man is to be clarified and purified by means of certain psychological processes. These processes are known as sadhana, spiritual discipline. For this reason, not only among the followers of Hinduism, but also among Christians and Buddhists, regular rituals are prescribed for the worship of images or idols of God. Cynics question the validity of this form of adoration, declaring that it merely strengthens faith in superstition. They ask, can God be a stone or a piece of paper? That attitude is not correct. By adhering to the traditionally prescribed forms of ritual worship, many aspirants have attained the vision of the omnipresent and remained immersed in that ineffable bliss. In fact, puja, formal worship at regular hours with the recitation of hymns and songs, is the very first step in the spiritual pilgrimage. Many seekers have undoubtedly achieved an awareness of God by years of asceticism among jungle caves. But starting early with puja and continuing with scrupulous care, the rites of archana, bhajan, and aradhana, offering of flowers with repetition of God's name, singing His glory, and adoring Him as a living presence, are more fruitful and satisfying. We must realize that God is present in the icon as well. Mirabai, Sakubai, Surdas, Kabirdas, Shankaracharya, and many other saints and realized souls have proved in their lives that the time, attention, and energy spent in these religious practices is spent well. It was through aradhana alone that they were able to behold the divine in the particular form which they had chosen as their instrument. The entire English literature is made up of permutations and combinations of the 26 letters of the alphabet. Puja, ritual worship; japa, recitation of holy names; archana, offering of flowers with God's names; and aradhana, divine service, are the letters of the spiritual alphabet, the collection of the various items necessary for worship: lamps, camphor, flowers, plates, cups, a bell, and the book, needs hours-long concentration on the divine. The puja itself may take up another hour or two of concentrated and purificatory attention, and the performer rises up after the recitation and meditation a stronger and steadier pilgrim on the path. The omnipresent is not absent in the icon or on the picture. We do not reduce God and shut Him up in a stone image. We affirm and realize that He is in the icon also. We raise the image to the dimensions of the Absolute. We expand the picture far beyond its frame, and through the processes of sadhana, we become aware that the picture too can be made a tool for the mind to escape from its limitations. Offer puja with a purified heart. When the Maharaja of Alwar in Rajasthan argued before Swami Vivekananda, that God can never be perceived in a picture drawn by an artist, Vivekananda called upon the Prime Minister, who was standing reverentially by, to get the Maharaja's portrait down from the wall, and asked him to spit on it. He said, "You need not hesitate. The Maharaja says that it is just a blotch of colours on a bit of canvas, and that it should not be confused with His Majesty." The 16 modes of worship laid down in the Shastras, sciences of spirituality, to make the aspirant aware that he is in the very presence and that every gesture and movement of his has to be motivated by devotion and dedication, ensure the purification of the mind of man from ego and all its brood of blemishes. This is Chitta Shuddhi, the cleansing of all levels of one's consciousness. The basic chitta, inner consciousness, has to be freed from down-pulling impulses. Of what good is it to cook a rare and costly dish in a vessel contaminated by dirt? Of what good is it to plant a precious seed in rocky soil? Puja or archana offered without a purified heart is a sheer waste of time. But even a short, sincere session of puja spent in divine awareness yields much better fruit. Thirutondar, a Tamil saint, confessed that he had engaged himself in worship of the Lord's idol in order to cleanse his mind. The material and the form are inseparable, but the seeker must dwell on the form which he desires to be manifested in all its glory, rather than on the material. He must dwell long and deep over the thought that God is found through every particle in the universe, free from limitations of space and time. Great devotees have no identity of their own. Ceaseless effort is necessary to gain and possess Chitta Shuddhi. One has to be ever in satsang, holy company, and in activities devoted to the service of God in all human forms. In the Gita, one can notice Krishna addressing Arjuna as Kurunandana. The usual meaning given by scholars to this appellation is the scion of the Kuru clan, though it has a much more profound lesson to teach mankind. Kuru in Sanskrit means do, and Nandana means he who takes delight in. Hence, Krishna, by addressing Arjuna as Kurunandana, was appreciating the retransformation in him from inaction to action, for Arjuna was one who took delight in being active. For most of you, Sunday is a holiday, a day in which you delight. But for Arjuna, the day in which he could devote to God's work was indeed a holy day. You must have heard the common people in India believe that when the thunder is threatening overhead, the simultaneous recitation of Arjuna's 9 names keep a bolt from falling on them. This shows the power that dwells not only in the names of God, but also in the names of His devoted followers. Souls ever pure and ever united with the Absolute, a power that even commands the elements. That is the reason why Aradhana, worship of the presence, is offered even to the great devotees like Tyagaraja and Kabir. They have no identity of their own, having become one with the limitless through worship of the limited. Vrindavan, June 6, 1979. It is running after Vishaya Vasana, attachment to sense objects, that produces all this discontent. That Vasana, that type of desire, has no end. Once you become a slave to the senses, they will not leave hold of you until your death. It is an unquenchable thirst. But I call you to me, and even grant worldly boons, so that you may turn Godward. No avatar has done this before, going among the people, the masses, the millions, and counseling them, guiding them, consoling them, uplifting them, directing them along the path of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, and Prema, truth, virtue, peace, and love. Sri Sathya Sai Baba.